So what's up, guys? Welcome to this week's project on BeachBumLivin. We're on this week. I'm going to show you how I turned this pile of driftwood that I had collected from the beach after the tropical storm came through, and I was able to transform it into this cool looking old rustic kitchen island. So stay tuned and I'm going to show you how I got it done. Alright, so this week's project was a ton of fun. You know, I had always wanted to build something and I just never have, up until a few weeks ago. I was able to get this whole pile of wood that I had collected from the beach, which was just awesome wood. I knew I wanted to build something with it, I just didn't really know what. So what I ended up doing was I went to this blog that I had previously found before that was really informative, and it's this lady, her name's Anna White, and she just has a lot of do-it-yourself projects on her blog, and she has this section where she actually designs, you know, a lot of her projects, and she'll just have this detailed instructions with measurements and everything you'll need on it. So I knew that would be a good place to start because her designs are really simple, and with the wood I had, I knew I couldn't build something really complicated because it's kind of really rustic and old and needed to be somewhat simple. So I went there, and she actually had a design that I guess one of her friends posted from her blog onto her site, and it was from Old Paint Design, and it was just this rustic kitchen island which they had built with reclaimed wood as well, and it just looked awesome, and I knew the wood that I had would look great, you know, in this project. So that's the one I decided on. And on her blog she had these really detailed instructions that I was able to print out, and it has, you know, the tools you're going to need, the material you'll need to buy, and then the cut list, which is what you'll cut down the material into, you know, each part of the project, and then you'll basically just kind of piece it together. So printed it out, decided what wood I was going to want to use out of the pile of wood I had, kind of cleaned it up, cut everything down to the exact specifications that she had in her instructions, and then basically I just kind of pieced it together. It ended up being really simple, and overall it was just a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I really, you know, had a feeling of accomplishment when I was done, because I took just this wood I found, didn't pay anything for it, and was able to build something, you know, from it, which I just thought was awesome. So it turned out great. I was really, you know, I had a lot of fun with this project. I hope I can do some more like this. So stay tuned and let's go ahead and get this thing started. Okay, so I'm ready to get started on this project, and the first thing I wanted to do was go ahead and get all the tools I'm going to need. So what I got out was I have a miter saw, I have a sander, a circular saw, a cordless drill, a power planer, and a Craig's pocket hole jig, and just some little knick-knack tools that I'm going to need. And most importantly, I have the instruction. I went ahead and selected some of the better pieces that I'll need, and this is just all the wood that's going to be necessary for building this kitchen island. So I have that out, and to get me started, the first thing I'm going to want to do is go ahead and cut down all the pieces that I'm going to need for the project. Okay, so I finished cutting all the boards down into the exact lengths that were specified in the directions, but I wanted to show you this part real quick before I start assembling everything. It calls for basically a notch to be cut into the legs to allow these 2x4 supports to fit down in nicely, so it'll be flush once it's cut out. But what I plan on doing, and I actually saw a video on Ann White's blog explaining how to do this, but I'm going to use a circular saw and just cut a few strips in here to allow me to be able to notch out the pieces, and it'll have a nice groove cut in here once I'm done. But I'm just going to show you guys how to do that real quick. And it calls for it to be 1.5 inches deep, and on these circular saws it shows, you know, this is going to be the depth of it. So I have it set to 1.5 inches, so now that I know when I start cutting it's only going to go down 1.5 inches and allow enough to be cut out to where this 2x4 will fit nicely in here. Okay, so I finished notching the legs out, and as you can see, it's just going to give it a really nice flush look. So pretty much all I have left to do is to start assembling all the pieces that I cut, which should be pretty easy. I mean, once everything's cut and it's cut right, it should be like piecing a puzzle together. So okay, so I finished putting on the lower part of the legs, which was the part where I just notched out that little section where I was able to slide the 2x4 in flush, which that's pretty simple to attach once you have those little notches cut out. But the upper part, I wanted to show you guys how I was going to do this, because as you can see, it just kind of fits in and it's flush, and there's really no good way to screw this in unless you wanted to use huge screws and go from the back side of the post, and it's just gonna have an ugly screw that's exposed here on the outside of your project. So that's not really the route I want to go. So what I have is this Craig pocket hole little kit, and what it is, it comes with a couple little things, but this is the main component that's in it. And what it is you set this to whatever width your wood stock is, and you can see how it's going to allow you to drill nice angled holes in. It just kind of sets you up to where you can be consistent on drilling your holes, and it gives you a nice angled hole so that when you attach this right here, you'll have a nice hole to be able to drill in with your screw and attach this, and your screw head will be nicely hidden. Okay, so you use this little collar that comes with your kit, and you set it to the depth that you want it to stop at on your drill bit. So you can see how it's only going to go to this depth. Attach that. I have the Craig pocket hole attached. So as you can see, it gives you a nice angled hole. So now, when you go to attach it, your screw will go in, and it'll give it that, it'll have that nice hidden look to it. So okay, I've completed the bottom portion of the project. The next step is going to be to build the top shelf and then the bottom shelf. Okay, so I just finished putting on the top, and this thing turned out better than I expected. You know, I was kind of hesitant on, I mean, the plans that I printed off were really simple and straightforward, so I knew that part was going to be easy. It was just the working with the driftwood that I had collected. I wasn't too sure how all that was going to piece together, but it came together great, and I couldn't be happier with it. So it's pretty much complete. The only thing that I have really left to do is, and if it works, you know, I think it'll be a neat idea, but I'd also found this like driftwood stick when I was getting this wood, and the idea I have for it is to maybe, using some wood dowels, drill this out on each end, and then drill through this faceplate, you know, a hole for the dowel to fit as well. And this will kind of sit here in the front of this, because this is a kitchen island. You know, you can kind of picture this facing like the inside of the kitchen, like towards the sink. And with this hanging here, you'll be able to hang your dish towels and stuff like that over it. So I just think it'll be, you know, functional and kind of cool looking. So if I can figure out how to make this work, I think it'll be a nice addition to the already cool looking island. So that's what I'm going to try to do next. All right, so I just got done putting on this handrail thing. I don't even know what you'd really call it. It's sort of towel hanger thing. I don't know. But what I did was I ended up using that driftwood stick that I had, and I used these wooden dowels. And what I did was, on the back side of the stick, I just used one of these drill bits that drills a hollow hole all the way through. But I didn't go all the way through. I just went about halfway so that this dowel could fit about halfway through the stick. And then on this baseboard, I drilled it all the way through. Overall, ended up being a lot more difficult than what I initially thought it was going to be. Just trying to line up everything and just trying to get it perfect and everything, because this is the only stick I had, so I only had one shot at drilling, and if I screwed it up, it was just, I don't know what I was going to do. So I'm happy with it. I think it turned out really good. I think it's pretty cool. I'm done with the island, but I wanted to add something to it, because if you can kind of picture this being in a kitchen, you know, this side's going to be facing inside the kitchen, where, like, say like this over here is the sink, and then you turn around and here's your island, and then you have your wash racks hanging from this. But on the back side, instead of having some like bar stools or something to be able to sit there and maybe have breakfast or whatever, I still have a little bit of wood left over. So what I plan on doing is using this big piece right here and actually building a bench to go along with the island, so it'll match with this driftwood. So I'm going to use the same style as what I did with the island, as far as the 4x4 post as legs, and I think it'll look really neat with it. So that's what I'm going to tackle next. Alright, so I'm done. Turned out awesome. I appreciate you guys checking out the video. I hope you liked it. If you did, show me some love. Make sure you hit that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And I guess I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for checking out BeachBumLivin. Hold on a second, I got a special guest. Alright, this week's special guest is MacLeod, aka Fly, aka Fro, aka Mo, aka Fro Daddy, aka Mo Daddy, aka Fat Boy, aka Old Man, aka Fat Jack. Pretty sure he answers to all those names. This is an old cat you see in some of my videos. He follows me around like a dog. He needs attention constantly. But he's a cool cat.